All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Surf and Sales podcast. I am one half of the duo that brought you the Surf and Sales Summit. My name is Scott Leese, founder of Scott Leese Consulting and co-founder of the Surf and Sales Summit, here with my good friend and partner, Richard Harris. What's up, Richard?
I'm good, but I think our third person who helped co-found Surf and Sales is going to be upset. So apologies to Jeff Coleman for Scott's narcissistic ego and behavior.
He doesn't even want to be. He's going to be more mad at you that you've even mentioned his name.
No. He's very happy to be behind the scenes, but he wants a little love,
Yeah. Well, when he starts hosting the podcast for the first time in 8 years, he can get shouted out. This is more press than he deserves already. Press than he deserves. We're joined today by a guest who's coming to us all the way from across the pond over in Stuttgart, Germany. Sadly, he is not a football fan, so I've already wasted my breath trying to talk to him about football and the rise of VfB Stuttgart to the Champions League from relegation zone. But he knows nothing about what I'm talking about. His name is Harris Halkic. He is the founder of Sales Daily. It is one of, if not the only, daily sales newsletters that you can sign up for and get the best resources in 4 minutes or less every single day in your inbox. Harris, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks a lot for inviting me to your podcast. And yeah, obviously, I'm quite nervous to be on this podcast. You're legends in this sales community, and especially with podcasting. So thanks a lot for inviting me.
You're welcome. You're welcome, man. Happy to have you here. No reason to be nervous. We do not know what we're doing and have not known what we're doing from the start. So there's nothing you can do in terms of making any kind of mistake that we have not already made. So tell us a little bit about the company that you've started and the direction and what your goal is.
Yes, I've been in software sales for 5 years now as an account executive in different companies, and basically started engaging on LinkedIn in November last year. And what I was doing really resonated with people because I was curating a lot of posts from others, bringing them kind of into large lists and just helping people to find the best content on LinkedIn. And there's amazing content there, right? I mean, there's so much best practices from SDRs, from AEs, from people actually doing the selling, and not only people who have written books, but really people who are prospecting every day. And that was something that fascinated me. And I started aggregating this into posts and sharing it. And the next step was then an obvious one to start a newsletter, a daily newsletter, where I share mostly best practices I've learned on LinkedIn from other sellers, and share them as a daily email that I send out to people. And so far, it's really fantastic to hear the responses. And today someone created a small video as a love letter because of this newsletter. So I'm really
that's very cool. Whatever you're doing must be resonating a little bit, right?
Right. Yes, I'm very happy about that.
Well, that's how I found you. I think that I got tagged in one of your posts, and there was a list of 30 people and 30 URLs. It was like, here's the best, post that I found this past week or whatever. And so I started paying attention and following. I'm like, who is this guy? He's just like curating all these things over and over. And it's pretty cool. What it is almost, well, depending on what you want to see, it could be like a hyper curated list, because the LinkedIn algorithm doesn't always show you the content from the people that you want to see it from, even if you're already connected to them. So have you thought about how can I productize this hyper curated kind of feed at all? Where does this newsletter business go in terms of trying to monetize it? Because I think that's something that people want to know if they're considering building a newsletter themselves.
Yes, the goal of the newsletter is to give people great content at the beginning of their workday. So of course, depends on where you live. So far the audience is 80% from the US. So I post then, for me, it's afternoon in Germany when I send out the newsletter. And the goal is just to help you with specific things. Like today's topic was how to write better DMs on LinkedIn that resonate, how to book meetings through that. And it's just about actionable steps and really something that you can read in 5 minutes and get an idea. Oh, I could do that. I could improve. I could try this today. Because I know from my time in sales and being an AE, you don't have time to read long posts. You don't have time to read the books. So maybe on the weekend, even for podcasts, you really have to find the time. And especially before work, either you're very disciplined and you wake up 1 hour earlier, or you just check maybe emails or some posts in between. And so I really wanted to make it short, so people can act really quickly. And the goal is, to grow it to a resource that's valuable for salespeople and to monetize through sponsorships. So I already have first sponsors who advertise on the newsletter. And yes, that's one of the main goals. Besides growing it, besides having great content that resonates, is to also have a business out of it.
How did you get to the point where you were like, okay, I've been an AE, I've been a sales manager, I'm thinking about doing something on my own. Fuck it, I'm going to go for it, bet on myself and see what happens. A lot of people, including me in the last 5 years, have got to that place and pulled the trigger. Richard did it way sooner than that, God bless him. But you're at this stage in your career, which a lot of people are, but then you bet on yourself. So how did you make that decision, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. Why did it feel like now is the right time?
Well, it did not feel right now is the right time, but when is the right time right now?
That's actually so true. And a great answer. Really good answer.
Just after trying out LinkedIn, I would say, and seeing the power of it also, I said, hey, this might work. I have no idea if it will work, but let's give it a shot and let's try it. And I can always go back to a sales job if it fails, but I'm really,
That's the beauty of sales, though. Like, that is the ultimate beauty of what we do. We're always free agents. We can always go somewhere we want. We can take risks. We can create side hustles. We can make the jump. And if it doesn't work, we can always go back, right? There's always, even in a down economy, it might take longer, but there's always somebody looking for a good salesperson. So I think that's, when's the right time? Maybe when you realize that. Maybe when you realize, like, I can always go back. I don't know.
Yes.
Harris, when because you do the newsletter, right? And then you also have it on LinkedIn. Do you post on LinkedIn daily as well as the newsletter? Do you, is it the same content, or do you have different content in each place to make people want to do the newsletter? How do you do that?
I do both. I post on LinkedIn 6 to 7 days per week. And the newsletter is Monday till Friday, so 5 times per week. It's not the same content, but sometimes it might include the same post, or because on the newsletter, it's just basically 2 to 3 short paragraphs, short posts that I basically summarize. Here's 5 steps that Darren McKee uses to book meetings through DMs. And I would just kind of write down the steps so people don't even have to read the post, but I will always link the post so they can get the full information, they can comment. Right. So it's a slightly different format that you can just go through the email basically and get some information. And there are always more links if you want to find out more, if you want to have the full article, full post. There's also a meme that's very popular at the end, and a short video from YouTube. There's a podcast also, 1 to 2 podcast references that I include on that topic. So basically, the newsletter is your curation on a specific topic each day that you get.
So, and now here's the question: assuming you can monetize this, right, which you're starting to do, how much time a day does this take? Because on the one hand, I could feel like, wow, that's a lot of time to sit down and do it. But it's not that hard to do. It's just time consuming. Or B, is it, well, I'm dialed in. I can work 2 or 3 hours a day, get the newsletter out, get 2 or 3 a day out, build out a piece. Like, how long does it take? And I'm asking for a friend here who's always trying to work less and make more money. So
That's the goal for us all, isn't it?
right. So
Um,
how long does that take you? Just out of curiosity.
the newsletter is around 1 to 1.5 hours daily. LinkedIn is more work. LinkedIn is, I would say, 3 to 4 hours, sometimes more daily.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so
Why is
the
LinkedIn so much
promotion,
more? Why is that? I would have
because
thought the
this
opposite.
this yes, because this posts that I'm creating, this list, they're quite time consuming. And one of the questions I always get from people is, which app do you use? Which AI tool do you use? And then
That
I
was my
tell them,
next question was like, boy, I could AI this shit and like I don't have to work at all.
so I did not find a way to AI this so far. So it's manual work. And it's funny because people lose interest as soon as I tell them it's manual work. No one has a follow-up question.
Right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just could.
The barrier to entry for other people to do this is apparently way too high for you to spend 5 hours a day working on some newsletters that people pay you money for. So yeah, like
Yeah,
that.
too much work.
Yes.
Too much work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Someone out there is like, oh, that's a lot of work.
Right. That would be Richard, by the way. So,
Yeah.
no.
And of course, the beauty of it is the more you put into it, the more you invest, the more you will get out, and the more LinkedIn grows, you get more traffic, you get more subscribers. So of course, it's up to me to make it happen. But also referring to your question before, I said to myself also, I can do cold calls and send out emails and direct messages for myself. Why not sell my own product or service instead for other people? So yeah, it's not much different.
What even prompted you? Go back to the first time you put something out. I'd love to understand the evolution, right? Because did you the first time you did something where you're like, okay, I'm going to make this a daily newsletter. I'm just going to post some stuff and see what happens. Like, what was the evolution? Because I think, Scott has the concept and he's right that the delta between ideation and execution, the shorter that delta is, the more successful you're going to be, or something like that. Scott can correct me on it, but how did it evolve? Because I think that's where people get stuck.
Yes. It started as an experiment. So it started with LinkedIn in November, last November. I just saw for other people that it was working really well. They're having success on LinkedIn. They're building businesses. They're promoting their service. And also I figured that there are so many salespeople that I discovered just at that moment, sharing so much valuable stuff that's valuable for me as a seller. About booking meetings, about prospecting, about getting promoted. All this information is very valuable. But how LinkedIn is set up, it's basically gone after 24 hours. So if you don't remember the creator of the post, you will never find it. The LinkedIn search is really horrible. And at first, I started doing this for myself. I started saving a lot of posts. I had this fear of missing out on great ideas and great best practices. So I started creating lists for myself, bookmarks, organizing that. And it was really horrible because it was more time organizing than actually applying it. And so I tried to do it in public and just share this list with other people. That resonated well. So I saw there was really a need for curation of content and saving people time. This is what I basically do. I save them the time to go through LinkedIn to search for example, best tips on video prospecting when they need it, because I curate it in a post or as a newsletter format and send it to them. This is the whole idea, and this is basically the evolution. So it started with LinkedIn posts, and then in January I started collecting email addresses. Not sure how I will put this newsletter together, and basically the format that I have today started 4 weeks or 5 weeks ago with the daily format that I have now.
And how would you describe the process of authoring newsletter content compared to authoring other types of content like LinkedIn posts or other social media posts or writing a book or things like that? Like how is the writing process different for you, if at all?
For what, to be honest, I'm not writing that much. As you mentioned, I tag a lot of people. So most of the time is spent really researching posts, going through the LinkedIn archives, going through my favorite creators and saving a lot of posts and organizing them in a basically by topic. So for example, cold call openers.
He's spent a lot of time formatting, Scott. He's trying to make it look pretty.
And yes, so most of my content is not even my own content. 20% of my posts I write myself, and the rest is curations, is basically bringing the best ideas, best tips from LinkedIn. And each day I discover new creators, new stealth people, which is really amazing to me, because how the whole algorithm is set up at LinkedIn. You don't know these people, and you're not exposed to their content. So it's really something that it's not clear to me how LinkedIn sets this up, but it has some beauty.
That was my next question is like, how do you think about the balance between finding new people that are writing interesting content and sharing those people's content, giving those people exposure, versus like, okay, we know that Richard writes good content and you don't necessarily want to share his like every single day. I imagine that part has got to be tricky. It's like continuous kind of deep research. Do you track these things? Like, okay, I mentioned Scott, 14 times this year already. I've got to stop doing that, right? Do you think about any of that, or are you just like, fuck it, whatever hits me in the moment and feels good, that's what I'm doing?
Yes, now it's fuck it, just do it. Whatever is valuable for my audience, I'll do it. In the beginning, it was much about, who can I tag Scott again? I tagged him 2 weeks ago. He will be mad. He will see all these notifications and things like that. Really, at the beginning it was, and many people still talk about this. You should not tag creators. You should not tag many people. You should not tag 30 people in a post like I do every day. So I've tagged probably more salespeople than anyone else on LinkedIn during the last months. But for me, it's really a win-win-win situation. So of course, it helps me to grow my audience, and it resonates with people because they find this content in one place. But it's also a good situation for the creators, especially for smaller creators that reach out to me and thank me in DMs or in the comments and say, hey, you're bringing me new followers. I see I get every time 10 new followers when you include me on the list, which is very rewarding also for me, that I can support especially smaller creators. And for the audience, I save them time. So they're also telling me, I'm saving this. This is really helpful. I don't have to go through this and search for it. I can just have it in one place and go through this and apply it. Yes, so that's very rewarding to have this combination that everybody benefits from it. And I do try to include also a lot of smaller creators, meaning that they don't have a lot of followers. They just started a couple of months ago. Yes, that is always the goal, to have also people. I don't really care about follower count or likes or something. If I like it, I'll include it.
So
Gotcha.
the most important question is, how many times have you quoted Scott versus quoting me in the newsletter? Because this will, and by the way, I'm going to bet that I've been quoted 0 times, which is okay, because that now means I'm one of the smaller creators compared to Scott. So,
Yeah, if I got commented once, I think I'm going to say it's 1-0. I think is the score.
Well, I think I included you at least 2 times with the podcast. And I don't know about a specific post. I'll have to check. I don't have stats on everything, but we can change this.
Scott, what he's telling us is that we need to up our content game, right? That we both suck because he can't remember who we are.
Well, if we keep sucking, we'll become one of the smaller content creators, right, and then he can feel good about helping us again. What are the metrics that you do track? There's got to be some. I suppose potential sponsors might want to know some. metrics and KPIs, right?
I'm tracking impressions of the post. So which posts are just popular or what resonates with people. And so far, what I found out, for example, obviously, most people know this already, but I like to see it in numbers as well. So cold calling, prospecting are the topics that are just most interesting to my audience, to the sales audience. So for example, but I did a post also on morning routines from other salespeople, which was quite successful. Time management. So yeah, that's what I track. Impressions, definitely. I also always like to read that someone is saving it, because for me that's kind of validation of this is valuable. I want to look into this later. Or yeah, obviously just DMs someone saying thanks a lot, or can you do a post on this topic? Someone messaged me and said, could you do something on how to pass the gatekeeper on cold calls? And so I did that. So I try to do a lot what people are asking for, also what they're interested in, and yeah, just to serve my audience. That's my goal, to add some value there. And besides that, my main metric, of course, is newsletter subscribers and open rates. For example, so far I have an open rate that's above 50%, which is really, yeah, to me it's really fantastic for a newsletter.
Yeah, that's about what mine is. So I have a different question, sort of on the business side of this, and then I know we want to flip it to you and have you ask us a question. When you reach people, right? You know, for people who are listening and thinking about doing this, what's important to sponsors, right? If you're gonna, go get a sponsor, is it number of subscribers? Is it open rate? Is it content? Because I don't know if you are. It's like, we know that every sponsor wants someone's email address, but this is your newsletter. We can't just be handing out, your newsletter email addresses, right? So when other people who've got side hustles like you, what do you think is important to the sponsor?
On when we talk about newsletter business, normally it's about per thousand, so CPM. So you pay per thousand subscribers. Mm-hmm. If you have 10,000 subscribers, you might have $50 per 1,000. So might be $500 for one email that you send out with the ad included. So that's kind of the normal procedure, I would say, with and there are a lot of videos on this on YouTube, interviews with founders of Morning Brew, The Hustle, and Milk Road, and many successful newsletters, where you can also get more information on that. So it depends. There are also sometimes affiliate programs that you can include, where you are paid on based on sales, often with a discount that you get exclusively for your audience. And with newsletter posts and sponsored posts, it's a lot about impressions, sometimes also about clicks and sign-ins to a new product or a new service. So a lot about impressions, and newsletters more about just how many people you have. Sometimes also open rate, that's important, and just basically the main number is how many subscribers do you have, and how many people can we reach with this.
That's great. No, I appreciate you sharing that. So, we kind of got to get to the end of all this, but what question do you have for us?
Well, one question that I really had from before I joined this call was, why did you invite me? That would be really interested for me to find out, because I'm still someone who's really new in the sales community, also very, very new to LinkedIn. What kind of attracted you? What do you find interesting? So you invited me to the podcast, and which value do you see that I could add to your audience?
I think it's interesting to talk to people who are doing something a little bit different, in ignoring the rules a little bit. All the rules are like, don't tag 50 people and have 50 links in your posts and this kind of thing. So there's that. And then, knowing that you pivoted into basically being a solopreneur, at the moment and walking away. I think that those are important. And it's important for Richard and I think, as well, to talk to people from different parts of the world at different stages of their career, and just, learn about different perspectives and tactics and things like this.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's too, it's similar to you, is like, we can get in our own bubble and talk to the same people, but here you bring this fresh approach that, is so simple. I'm sure Scott and I are going, shit, we should have done this newsletter thing a long time ago, right? We've got 500 episodes of the Surf and Sales video podcast we haven't done fuck all with on, other than upload them to YouTube, right? Like, and so so hearing it from someone who's different and new is sort of, and I also think we also want to share good stuff with people. If you feel like, you're not well known, which I think you actually are more than you think, then we certainly want to support other people and support their brand and support their good content, because your content's great, right? And why wouldn't we want to support that? So those are the reasons I think you're here.
Okay. Yeah, thanks a lot, and definitely I promise to take you more often in future, Richard. So,
You hear that? He said Richard, Scott, not Scott. He said Richard.
Scott as well. And maybe another question, because obviously you're expert in this industry and you've been here for a long time. And I saw your post.
Yes, a long time, yes. Experts, not so sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's just pretend.
Yeah.
And I saw your post on the BDR role, Scott. Also, maybe we can talk about it. What's your take on this? I mean, do you think it? How will sales look 3 years from now? Especially talking about this AE, SDR, BDR kind of setup that we had during the last years in tech sales. What are your takes on that?
Yeah, I mean, I spelled it out in my post, but that SDR model doesn't really make sense too much anymore. In particular for lower priced, less complex type of products and deals. I think you're continuing to see some lower level functioning kind of roles and tasks being automated away via AI and via tooling. I also just see a overall trend of cold prospecting being harder and harder than it's ever been. People use the phone less, people use email less, all this kind of thing. So I think you're going to have to leverage relationships more than ever before. And you're going to have to sort of become better at marketing almost. And, all the way down to an individual salesperson doing their own kind of marketing and creating demand and interest and curiosity and that type of thing. So that's the trend, some of the trends that I see. And I don't see that slowing down. I see it going faster and faster. The way the market is headed.
Yeah, I see the same thing. The thing that I find the most interesting is that, we've already started to see some things shift, right? In the sense of, Gmail and Yahoo are tracking those emails, right? And how much, the spam setup. I assume Microsoft's doing the same thing, or they're going to if they haven't already. We see LinkedIn limiting the number of connection requests you can send in a week or in a day. I think we're actually going to see LinkedIn start to reduce the number of messages you can send at all at some point. So I see that piece really being, the limitations are going to be put there by the marketplace. I agree with Scott on the phone thing. I think that I don't know where that's going to go. I agree that where it goes will be interesting. Fascinated by what's about to happen to TikTok. Not that I know a lot of people prospecting on TikTok, but Harris, maybe you do, just because you're paying attention.
No,
and you're a different generation. Yeah, you're slightly younger than me, a lot older. Certainly, a lot younger than Scott. But that Scott's right. Like that that role is gonna shift. And become more automated, and through that automation, I think you're going to see more restrictions. which will be very, very interesting. And it is going to be that relationship thing. It's going to be the most valuable asset you have will probably be the contacts in your cell phone. That'll probably be the most valuable asset you have. And that'll be interesting. I also think, for all of us, we're already seeing the leverage of our LinkedIn connections. What's our most valuable asset? People who follow us and are connected with us on LinkedIn, right? Like we get hit up for people to support them all the time. So I think that's happening. I also think top of the funnel, that I hate to say this, I hate to use it, but that influencer model, the Instagram model will take more effect, right? We all get hit up all the time. Can we partner with you? Can we partner with you? We'll give you a referral bonus. Sure, but at some point, the mere fact that I'm even promoting you puts your name in front of people, and what value does that have? And some people think that's egotistical, and some people are like, well, yeah, I get it, but if you're not going to do it for free, we don't think you're that valuable anyway. So it's a long rant, by the way. Sorry. Those are my answers to all of that. I'll shut up now.
It's a good question. Appreciate you.
I'm worried actually, because I have a lot of SDRs, BDRs in my audience. So
Sure.
I'm thinking, what should they do? How could they?
They need to. The answer to that is they need to get up market as fast as possible as salespeople if they want to stay in sales. They need to get to high level, mid market, and enterprise level deals, because as long as there's a buying committee, 5, 6, 7 people, that's not going to get automated by AI yet. We're a ways away from 5 or 6 people all agreeing the AI salesperson will get there. Now, the experience they want will shift, right? They will think that they want to talk to a human less. That's only if the AI is that good, though. And so I don't think we're there yet. So what do your BDRs and SDRs do? Hustle, grind, get it done, and get into sales and move up market as fast as possible.
Yeah, that's right. And learn how to be somebody who knows how to control and use the tools,
the machines.
Don't stick your head in the sand. Richard talked about your most valuable asset being the contacts in your phone. Well, you better start trying to accrue more contacts, which means build your network as much as possible. It means diversifying your income streams and skill sets, right? So more and more creators and solopreneur type stuff, side hustle type stuff, all of these things, I think, are the ways that we're going to have to protect and insulate ourselves, from some of these changes. So, we appreciate you spending some time with us today. Harris, tell everybody again where they can find you, connect with you, and how to join the newsletter.
Well, yeah, it's really easy. They can find me on LinkedIn. That's a good starting point. And they can also find me at harrishalkic.com or salesdaily.co, where they can subscribe to the newsletter. And yeah, basically, these are the two main channels. I'm not on TikTok, on Instagram, or Facebook, or anything else. So
not yet.
LinkedIn only.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, maybe that would change.
Awesome. Harris, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate your insights and sharing all your wisdom with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. Thanks a lot.